Welcome, ghouls. This is your true crime obsessed host, Marlena, and I am so glad you've joined us for our 6th episode of Shrouded in Darkness. Let's jump right in. We'll start with our disclosure. All the stories I share contain material that I have personally researched. Some episodes may contain disturbing material. Along with what I have researched, I'm also going to share my opinions and thoughts on the case. At no point is it our intention to ever offend or upset anyone. At Shrouded in Darkness, our goal is to educate, discuss, and bring fresh light to cases. For today's case, we are finally leaving the state of Alabama and we'll be learning about the murder of Erika Hill. Get ready though, this one is short but brutal. Erika Antoinette Hill was born in 1992. While her biological mother battled substance abuse, Erika lived with other family members. She was partly raised by her grandmother and partly raised by her mother's cousin, Talon Hill. She spent a lot of her time with Talon. There's very few details on if she went back and forth or how that really worked, but for the purpose of the case, it does seem like she was with Talon Hill most of the time. This is in Fitchburg, Wisconsin. Unfortunately, though, this doesn't actually prove to be better for Erika. Many of the children that live under Talon's care were subjected to abuse. They were often beaten, often starved. Of course, this included Erika. Despite Talon's unloving nature at home, she was known to be a very kind woman in the community. She even worked as an aide in the school system. By 2007, Erika was no longer living with Talon. As far as anyone knew, the 15-year-old chose to return to her hometown in Illinois. Of course, if that were true, if this were a happy case, it unfortunately would not be spoke about on the show. So let's move along. It's February 26th, 2007. 2 men report finding burned remains in Gary, Indiana. That's 200 miles from this little town in Wisconsin. The body they find is that of a petite female. Her age is estimated to be between 16 and 25. Her body is covered in more than 170 scars that appear to have been inflicted at different times because they were at different stages of healing. The condition of her body makes visual identification impossible. So, to help move things along, there are 3 renderings made, and they hope that someone might recognize this Jane Doe from those renderings. It's not until 2015, so 8 years later, that someone finally comes forward. It's Kiara Hill, who is Talon Hill's daughter. She had spent years searching for her cousin Erika, hoping that one day a familiar face would pop up online or on the news or somewhere. And then she sees it. The renderings from that 2007 case. She immediately notifies the police and tells them everything. Back in 2007, Erika did not return to Illinois like Talon had indicated. Instead, she was beaten, stabbed, and asphyxiated. Kiara, along with her siblings, was forced to help their mother dispose of the body, their own family. First, it was hidden in a basement freezer, but the odor became too much. Next, they drove the body to an overpass in Chicago, where they attempted to burn the remains. This is when Talon decides to have a heart for a moment. She was so worried that someone, like an elderly person, might find the body and have a heart attack or something. So she rounds up her kids again, and the next stop is an abandoned garage in Gary, Indiana. And this is where those 2 men found her burnt, lifeless body. Thanks to Kiara, the police have all the information they need. Taylor Hill is arrested September 14th, 2015. She is charged with first-degree reckless homicide, along with 6 counts of child abuse. In July of 2016, Taylor pleads guilty to 3 reduced charges, including child neglect and abuse. Later in November that same year, she is sentenced to 20 years in prison. And that's where the case sadly ends. Of course, there are some interesting facts surrounding this one, and you know I like to share those. There are a couple articles that indicated that Taylor also grew up in an abusive home, both physical and sexual. It's possible that this is what led to her own actions against the children she raised. Not that that's an excuse, but it gives a kind of a contributing factor of what went wrong, where it went wrong. It's believed that Erika was favored by her grandmother, the one she lived with occasionally. And they think that this may be why she received such harsher beatings. I mean, 170 scars were found on her body. And that was done over time, not in one instant. I mean, that sounds like torture to me. Obviously, this case is a difficult one. The life of a child was taken entirely too early. Again, she was only 15 years old. And honestly, I'm kind of disappointed in how little information I could find on Erika. You know, how I like to focus on the victim, but it was near impossible in this case. So little is known, which is why I'm trying to bring a light to it, because Erika Hill's name should be known. And I can't say for sure, but I do feel this may have been premeditated murder. I don't think anyone can call it an accident, not after years of abuse. To me, it sounds like Taylor just snapped one day and just finished the job, so to speak. But then, why did they move the bodies 3 times? Was she maybe trying to erase evidence? And her poor children, Kiara, her siblings, being forced to help get rid of the body, get rid of the evidence, burn their own cousin. I can't imagine the fear they lived in, afraid of what would happen if they didn't help, if they didn't keep it a secret. And then having to live with that for the rest of their lives. It's so heartbreaking. So that's all I have for you today. Like I said, this was a short but brutal case. But again, let's remember the victim's name. Erika Antoinette Hill. Thanks to my resources for today's research, Wikipedia, Chicago Tribune, and Morbidology. And thank you to my listeners. You can connect with us on Instagram at shroudedindarkness. And don't forget to share your feedback, give us your show ideas, and ask your questions. Catch next week's show, where we're going to dive into the case of the Grim Sleeper. See you next time, ghouls.